up silkworms like our pets, and also in the class, and we have those like scientific experimental. So in every spring, the springtime, the teacher will give us a piece of paper full of this kind of eggs. In the early spring, they give us this piece of paper. They have like 30, 40 eggs on this piece of paper, and then we bring these little silk eggs. These eggs, we bring them back home, and we put them into the matchbox. It's a small one. We put them into the matchbox and then make them like a cotton house. We put like a cotton bud or something inside, because they need to have the certain temperature and then to hatch out. So in that case, and then we put them into the little matchbox and then to warm them up. And sometimes if it's too cold in the evening, and we have to put like the electric bubble, yeah, to give them enough, yeah, like warm enough for them to hatch out. So altogether takes them like 1 week to hatch out. So this is just a newborn baby. See, they are more like each ant.
Wow.
Ant. So we call them like the ant worm. We call them like the ant worm. And these kind of little creatures, and just like a panda. You know, panda is such a lazy creature. The only thing for them is keep eating and sleeping. And then once they hatch out, they waste no time to eating. They waste no time to eating. But you know, the silkworm, they are such a delicate creatures. So even though we got like 30, 40 like eggs from the teacher, but that doesn't mean and we are going to get that much ants came out. And even though we got that like hatched out like 20 more ants, but doesn't mean later on we are going to pick up like 20 more silk cocoons, because they are such a delicate creatures. And then the only thing for them to eat is the mulberry tree leaves. The mulberry tree leaves. So in that case, and then when they were young, we have to pick up those kind of very tender mulberry tree leaves, and then we have to wash them cleanly. Otherwise, they will go diarrhea. They will die. Yes, it's true. So in that case, and then we have to clean them very well, and then we use a towel to dry them, and then we shred them into pieces, because you know they are very small. They don't really have a very good teeth or something to chew them. So we pick up the tender tree leaves and then slice them into pieces and then to feed them. And then after 7 days, and after keep eating for those days, and then they fall sound sleep. They got a sound sleep for like 24 hours. After that 24 hours, they shaded themselves and then become this one. And we call this one like a 1 year old, or we call stage 1. This is like a 1 year old little baby. And another like 7 days of eating and 24 hours of sleeping, they become like 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and then this is the adults. This is the adults. Yeah, this is the adults of the silkworm. So in that case, you could find this one. They have become like much more translucent, right? You could find it. It's a turning. You can tell the difference, right? A little bit different. And so this one, the color is turning like transparent, because inside their body they have those kind of like liquid silk. And then when we see they are turning to the age 5, the farmer at home, we don't have the straw mountain. We just put them into like a bigger like shoe boxes, because they are getting bigger. And then when they are about to become this age, we put them into a separate bamboo tray. Because we know they are going to spinning the silk cocoons around themselves. So in that case, when they become like a transparent color, they're supposed to spinning the cocoons to making their own house. So this is the one they are going to get. See, this is the one. So both of them, this is the cocoon, and then inside is the pupa. Yeah, it's a pupa. And then both of them is from one silkworm. So inside is a pupa and outside is cocoon, and one silkworm become this one. Okay? Yeah. And after like another like 7 days, and then they turn into moth. The pupa turn into moth, and then bite cocoon to fly out. Fly out. So here they have like oh, you couldn't see that. So they have like two of them, right? And usually one is bigger and one is smaller. So in the animal world, you know that the male one is always smaller than the female one, right? In the animal world. So in that case, and then they will fly out. See, you can see this one. They have like two moths. They have two moths. One is bigger and one is smaller. So the bigger one, that is like the female one. The smaller one is the male one. So they will flying out and then to find their beloved. They are going to find their beloved, and then they are going to mate. After mating, and then the female one died. Female one died right away, and then the male one. And the female one and laying eggs. And after laying eggs, and then she find another boyfriend.
That's right.
She got another boyfriend, and then after laying two hatches, and then she died. So in that case, that means the female moth is like 3 to 5 days longer. 3 to 5 days longer than the male one. So in that case, and you could find the whole life circle for this silkworm is something like 40 to 45 days. 40 to 45 days. And in the summertime, they grow faster. In springtime, they grow faster because the spring is the best time most nutritious for the food. So in that case, and then they grow like 35 days. 35 days. Each time they sleep they grow like 5 days, and then they could shed. And then in the summer and autumn time, and then like 7 days. So the whole life circle is from 35 to 45 days. This is like the whole life circle for this kind of like the moth. And then so here you could find we have the cocoons, right? You can tell the one in the middle is bigger. Can you see that? The one in the middle is bigger, and then the one in the either side, they are kind of smaller. Why? Male and female. Very good. But the answer is not. Yeah.
It's not correct.
It's not. And then the smaller one, they are the single cocoon. The smaller one is a single cocoon, and the double one, they are the bigger one is the double cocoon. The double cocoon. They are not twins, they are couple. Because twins could be sisters and brothers, right? Could be both sister or both brother. And then this one, we call them a twin, we call them like a couple cocoon. Or you can tell them like a twin cocoon because they are going to have a two inside. Yeah. So for this single cocoon, they are going to get this kind of a silk thread.
Wow.
You will get this kind of a silk thread. This is like a raw silk. And for each single cocoon, you make a guess how many silk thread we could get from one single cocoon.
You mean
as far as weight or length?
Length.
You know, like
how long?
in feet.
For one. How many feet?
Like in feet, you mean?
Yeah.
Meters.
Around the world,
100 meters?
10 meters?
No, like
Probably
1,000 meters.
A mile
1,000
or something.
meters.
100.
Yeah, something like that. It's something like 1,000 meters for the domestic. Something like 1,000 meters for one single cocoon for domestic raised silkworm. And then we also have those kind of wild silkworm. The wild one, they are much smaller, and then so in that case, and then their thread is like shorter. So for the domestic silkworm, they are more like it's something like a mile long. The longest one could be a mile for one single cocoon. Later on, when we tour in the factory, you are going to see that very long thread, and then they are kind of strong. They are very strong. Yeah. So in that case, and then we get those kind of like silk thread, or making this kind of a raw silk from the single cocoon. And why we say China is the best place to get silk? Because here we domestically raise the silk for so many years, and then we have a more domestic silk instead of the wild silk. Like in India, they also raise up the silkworm, but they have the wild silk. So for the wild silk, I mentioned they are not as strong as the domestic one. They are not as longer as the domestic one. So in that case, when you make silk thread, they are going to have more knots. They have to knot them together, right? So when you have the longer one, and then that's supposed to be the better quality, and then more smooth, right? So this is like the domestic silkworm. You remember, and from one single cocoon, they could get like a 1 mile long silk thread. And then for this couple cocoon, or you call them like a twin cocoon, and this one, and it's very hard for us to find ends. It's very hard for us to find ends because for this one single cocoon, they have only one thread, right? So it's very easy to find end and then to get the thread from one. But these two, they are twisted together. You cannot find the end at all. So in that case, and then the farmer try to separate them. Because the silk, like the covers and also the cloths, they are cost more money. They could earn more money on that. But we don't really separate all of them, because when they hatch out, if you don't kill them, they are going to bite cocoon and become the moth, right? So in that case, you couldn't get continuous silk filament from the silk cocoon. So in that case, and then we have to bake them before they turn into moth. We have to bake them before they turn into moth. But we do need some of them for next generation. So in that case, and as we all know, for those kind of twin cocoon or couple cocoon, they always have the male and the female together. So we try to leave this kind of thing. We try to leave them as for the next generation. And then we try to leave this as the next generation. And also for this one, and people they don't know how to do with them. So farmers don't like those kind of like a double cocoon or the couple cocoon because they don't know how to do with them. They can only throw it away. So they try to separate them. Not until like recently, and we find that they are twisted together. It's very durable. So in that case, the people use this kind of a double cocoon to make a silk comforter. So So in that case, they have very long fiber, and they don't have like they could keep the dust away, keep the moistures away. So people find it's like a healthy quilt. I mentioned it could help you from the arthritis, and the asthma, and insomnia. So we got so much health benefit from them. So now the people use those kind of like a double cocoon to making silk quilt. But in the other places, you never know whether they are used a single or double. But here, they always use the double cocoon. And also the people say, can I get it in the market? And do you know that in China, we have those kind of a black cotton? Everything in China, we say black. That means something bad, something illegal. So in that case, and in some of the market, they stuff those kind of used cotton buds from the hospital or the gauze, and then they redo them and then stuff into it. And then when you see it, they shows you it's like the good thing. But when you really use them, only the construction worker here in China, they buy those kind of things because they don't have money. Because they think even though it's only like $90, but they don't want to pay that much. So in those kind of market, you only see those kind of construction workers. They may buy those kind of a quilt or the things like that. So in that case, in the market, they may quilt them. You know what I mean? Because it's not really made of the long fibers of the silk. They are making with something you don't know. So they quilt them. They quilt them so they won't bunch up. And then you won't really see what's inside. The only thing you can see is from the edge or something, they show you that is a piece of a good silk. That is things you are going to see. But things you are going to see here, they always leave a zipper open for you to check. Because they know that is like 100% silk. They don't care. They don't mind your check because they sell the good stuff over here. So this is like the silk, the double cocoon. Yeah. So I mentioned that, and they are going to give they give you this card, right? They give you this card to limit you to use to buy in the quilt. And so later you could find I mentioned they are selling by weight instead of size. So I always suggest my people to buy the lightest weight of the comforter. Why? Because for the lightest weight, it's cheaper, right? Compared with the heavier one, this one's cheaper. And also you can use it like a whole year round. Because we mentioned that, and you do need it in the summertime. When you have the very cold AC, you need to cover yourself. So in that case, those kind of dampness couldn't come to your body, and that's the things to cause you get any of the disease. So in that case, and even in the hot summer, you should cover yourself with something. It's a breathable, and then you don't really feel cold, but you feel comfortable. And in the winter time, you don't need to cover too much on you. It's going to be very heavy, right? Sometimes when you go to a hotel, they have very heavy down comforter, and when you cover yourself, you feel your sweater, and also you feel it's so heavy on you. But the silk comforter is so light, it's so warm. So in most of your family, you have the very good air conditioner and also very good like a heating system. So in that case, you don't really need that heavy one. Only if you are living in a very, very cold area, like Alaska or something, you get like a heavier one. But I suggest you to buy the lightest weight. Or maybe you can get like a 2 lightest weight, 1 for summer and 2 for winter together. That's enough. So that's why they say like 1 card for 3 is a good enough for yourself. If you want to buy someone the quilts, and then you can still buy them 1. So 3 is good enough. So in that case, they give you that card for limited the people to buy things. So here they have like a single, double, queen, king, even have a California king. They have a lot of the size available. So later if you like, and then we are going to show you the price and everything, and you can do your shopping over there. And then like what I mentioned, you always need a cover. You always need a duvet cover to cover your silk. So in that case, you don't need to wash your silk comforter. You only wash that cover. And I mentioned that the silk are washable. I told you the silk are washable. You just put it into your washing machine. Gentle cycle with your hair shampoo, especially the baby shampoo, that will be better. That could take your silk comforter last long. And if you want to keep the color stay longer, and then remember the first time, only the first time, you put it into salt and vinegar, and then for half an hour, and then the color will stay for longer. And don't rinse them because you don't need to, and you just hang them under the like shade, and then breathe dry, and then you don't even need to iron them. Okay, so how easy to take care of them, right? And then for those kind of scarves, they also sell those kind of scarves here. And I'm going to tell you the cost of the scarf, so you can make your decision whether you want to get it here in the factory or you want to get it in the market. In the market for a scarf, you pay no more than 10 yuan, maybe $1. You can get a beautiful scarf, but like a 1 by 1 meters, 1 meter by 1 meters silk scarf. Do you know how many cocoons we are going to use to make one? Because I mentioned later you are going to see the workshop. They use like 8 pieces of the silk worms, silk cocoon to make 1 thread, right? So for 1 by 1 meters of the silk scarf, it will cost like 1,000 silk cocoon, 1,000 silk cocoon to make it. Yeah, let's say if 1 cocoon only cost you like 10 cents, 1,000 of them, how much that cost? And plus workmanship and also the other processing. So you can imagine how much does a real silk scarf will cost. So in that case, and then in the market, and when they give you some silk scarf, they told you it's only like 5 yuan, $1, 10 yuan. You don't expect that will be the good one. So for the good silk scarf, and when you wear them, and you feel so warm in winter, and it could breathe in summer, but polyester, and when you put it on your neck, and you feel it's so hot, and you will get rash, right? The rash in the summertime. So in that case, we say you buy some real one for yourself and also for the people you like, and then give those kind of $1 thing to the neighbor who's watering your garden. Okay, let's go. We are going to show you. Do you have any questions?